Hello, my dear folks. Welcome to the show. Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. We all know last week we had the nomination of Oscars published, and people are talking about everywhere, every corner on the street. So at the G&E TV, we went there to cover the event, and also we followed with a long report on the magazine, on the shows, on everything. Now we're doing the real McCoy. The real McCoy being that I have invited my good friend, my best friend, and iconic figure of Hollywood, Mr. Richard Anderson, to come on my show to talk about the real McCoy. In other words, I'm talking about the right issue with the right person. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jack. It's a pleasure to be here again. I think the last time I was here was for the Chinese American Film Festival.
Yeah, exactly. That was about 2 months ago, right?
Yeah,
about
a couple months ago.
Right. So to start with a little background of Mr. Richard Anderson. Oh, by the way, the fact I say little background is that his background is so huge I can't go from A to Z. Otherwise, I would have to cancel the show, make it another name, say the background of Richard Anderson.
I have 40 years of working in Hollywood. So.
Yeah, 40 years working in Hollywood and 30 years, more than 30 years being a member of the
Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
Wow, okay, that's Oscar.
That's the official name, right?
All right, sure, that's Oscar, and he being a judge himself, always has the best to say about films, about the whole thing, about the art of film, right? He himself has been a one-time Oscar winner, many times Oscar nominees, and one-time Emmy Award winner, and then many of others that, once again, the list goes too long, longer than I could mention. So, with my respect and everything, I know whatever you say, the law of the film.
Oh, well, thank you.
Let's make it that way. Let's put it that way, right? I always turn myself into
my next resume is going to be just talk to Jack.
Yeah, talk to Jack. All right, good. And also put a quote.
Right.
Put a quote that Jack, quote unquote, the law of films.
All right, I like that.
Okay, very good. What's your okay. Before I jump on the real subject, though, it's been a long time. I want to get some kind of understanding to my audiences as a piece of useful information to them who are such that they know to put their hands together, that's it. And they never know how exactly a film gets nominated and finally wins, how, and why, and through what kind of processes, how big is the board or the organization or the judges panels, stuff like that. Can you please start the very, very beginning? Let my audience take this chance as one of the most important classes to listen to, please.
All right. Well, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, it started off in the late 20s, 1920s. I think the first actual Academy Awards ceremony was in 29, which covered like 27 and 28 or something. So it's had a long history. Over the years, they've changed a number of awards and the categories as things change. Obviously, in the first year or so, there wasn't an award for best sound because all the films were silent.
You're right.
But over the years, the awards have changed. But how they're actually picked. Oh, and I should say that besides giving out the Oscars, the Academy also has a number of programs that they do. They have a research library that is open to the public.
I see.
They have many programs in Hollywood and New York and things which are also open to the public. If you go to their website, www.oscars.org, you can see what's coming up. And they have fascinating programs. And then they also have screenings for members only of the new films.
I see. Wow, wow, okay. Now, from that point on, starting 1929, when they put up the first Oscar.
Wings was the first Best Picture winner.
Wings, okay. And what the time, what was the year you joined the committee?
I joined in 83, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Something, I think it was
That's
83, somewhere around there.
Yeah, that's 31 years. No, 32 years already.
Yeah, yeah. It was after I won for Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I think it was the next year.
I see. All right, good for you, good for you. So how does it work? Because it has so many categories, it has so many films, and it looks like a huge job starting like runs almost throughout the year.
Right.
Am I right? How big
Well,
is it?
sort of. First of all, the way that works is that the films. Well, let me back up one thing here. People talk about the Oscars. Oscar was a nickname. It's officially called an Academy Award because it's from the Motion Picture Academy.
Award.
It's officially called an Academy Award, but somebody, some actor or actress, and I don't remember who, it's part of Hollywood lore, once looked at the statue and said, "Oh, it looks like my Uncle Oscar." So the name stuck.
I
okay,
see.
but it's not wasn't originally officially called an Oscar. But interestingly, until a couple years ago, it was always called the Academy Awards ceremony. But a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, the Academy realized that Oscar is sort of like a brand name, you know, a trademark of them or something.
Award,
so they started officially calling it the Oscars now themselves because they feel that the average person understands that more.
All right, okay, all right. So the organizations, how many members on the board of the call them judges?
Well, they're members. Okay. What the Academy's organization is such is that they break it down into what they call branches.
Branches.
So there's like a branch, which depends on what your job is in Hollywood.
I see.
Like there's an acting branch, a director's branch, a writing branch, a sound branch, which is what I'm in, even though I'm now doing more writing and directing, but I'm in the sound branch still. So each of these branches has its own elected board of executive board that does things like decide what qualifications a person has to be in order to become a member. And then also they have committees to decide what the rules should be for their award.
I see.
What film should be
they make the
eligible.
rules.
Yes. Each branch makes its own rules. Now it may need to get the board of then I should say, but then each branch sends 2 members to what is called the board of governors, and that is the group that oversees the whole academy.
I see.
And then there's like a president and the people who kind of oversees the board.
Sure. To start from the very beginning, though, here comes a film, right? It may apply for. It may be good for best feature film, it may be good for best sound editing, for sound mixing, may be good for even makeup, even costume design, anything. How does it end up to the very group that this film wins the same category?
Well, all films that play, I think, New York and LA for a week, or at least that could have changed. But it used to be that you had to play for a week in either New York or LA.
I see.
But I know it has changed for like short films or documentaries because sometimes these films don't play in theaters anymore.
I see.
So now I think for them, if you play in certain film festivals, you can become eligible.
I
But
see.
anyway, of the 400 or so or more films that say play theatrically each year, again, the key word here is theatrically. Television shows are not eligible. Only films that are shown theatrically.
I see.
So of the 400 or more films that are shown theatrically in the United States, they're all eligible to be considered.
I see.
But again, each branch may have its own rules. Like for music, if your music is all based on music that was done for another movie or something like that, or like like a number of years ago, the Whitney Houston sang that "I Will Always Love You" song, which was, I think, in the film The Guardian, and it was a very popular recording. But the song had been originally written by Dolly Parton for something else before, so it was not eligible for Best Song.
I see. I see. I see.
So
it has
again,
to be
that
the
that
best
is
song
the music,
originally.
right? The music branch came up with these awards.
I see.
So I mean, these rules for their own
once again,
branch.
you're saying about different rules, right? Different
Right.
rules,
Each
different
branch
rules
has the right to come up with its own thing.
I see. I see.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
So the way there's two rounds of voting. One is the nominations, which is what was just announced last week, and then of course there'll be the final voting for the winners of the awards.
Right.
So you go from the 400 or more movies down to most categories have 5 nominees. So the way it works is that each branch, the members of each branch get, used to be you got a paper ballot, now you can do it online. But we vote of all the movies, which ones we like, and we can pick 5 films for each category, but only within your branch. For an example, because I'm in the sound branch, I can vote for, nominate for Best Sound, which is the mixing award, or Best Sound Editing, which is more the creation and design. Right. And then everybody in the Academy is allowed to nominate for Best Picture, because Best Picture covers all the fields.
I see. Altogether, if you count all the numbers of people, how big is the whole thing, whole teamwork? Hundreds? Thousands?
I think it's like about 5,000, I think, worldwide,
Wow,
something like that.
5,000.
It's bigger than you think. So, but on the other hand, that means when you get a nominations, you know, it's a pretty good sampling.
I see.
Yeah, it's not like the Golden Globes where I think there's 60 members or something.
Is it safe to say, if it's safe to say that the more the members, the more fair the result?
I think so. I think so.
By simple math, right? By simple math.
Right, exactly.
Because your representation kind of like enlarged.
Exactly, exactly. More people will have a chance to see the films. I mean, this is a problem. I will admit, and I would think most members of the Academy will admit, it's pretty much hard for us to see every film that was released.
I know, but representative...
Which ideally you should, but it becomes an impossibility.
I know, but relatively, the 5,000 members has a large representation.
Right.
Yeah, to be fair, right?
Right.
How does it
and
compare?
I should say, too, that the Academy is not the American Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. It's a world thing. So there's members from all over the world.
How does it compare to the Golden Globe Award?
Well, that's given out by the Hollywood Foreign Press Association.
I see.
And I've heard they only have like about 60 members or 70 members. It's a relatively small organization.
That's about 1%. 1% of the 1,000, of the 5,000.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a much smaller base of people who are doing that.
Very good. Okay, to my audience today is one of the very, very rare chance that we end up with a iconic person in Hollywood talking about films, referring to the latest nomination of the Oscar of this year. We know that's a landmark in the entire human history when films are concerned. And I'm so glad I got the chance to sit down with one of the members of the committee, Mr. Richard Anderson. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll ask more about film to the person who understands the law of films. How about that? Let's take a short moment. We'll be right back, please.